Kelsey. I will start out this presentation for myself, Jazmin, and April. The title of our research project is Surveying USF College of Pharmacy Student Interests in a Student-Run News Platform that would provide an array of unbiased news on relevant topics. Our interest in this topic stem from the fact that social media is now a part of everyday life, and this is especially true among millennials. There have been several recent surveys gathering information about how millennials receive their news and stay up to date on current events. By and large, responses usually revolve around different types of social media. Because the majority of the student population at USF College of Pharmacy are millennials, we were curious if the same would apply to this group. New information is readily available wherever there's access to the internet, and usually that access is in the palm of our hand. Because of this, information can be consumed and shared in a matter of seconds without confirmation or validity of the source. Additionally, it's not uncommon to see opinion pieces be taken as factual evidence on an event or circumstance and shared publicly with one's friends. Our idea was to provide a student-run platform that created an outlet for easily sourced, non-biased information that was validated. Our survey's goals was to determine the main outlets of news consumption, determining if students at a doctoral level program were the same as their peers, and if a news platform was started, what would be topics of interest among the student population. The hope was that the source can be a quick reference for students to stay up to date on the latest topics for themselves and for the patient population that they serve. Being able to quickly recall information is an integral part of the pharmacy profession, and patients benefit when their providers are well informed on all topics. Our hypotheses were that with a social media application, articles are readily available at any given point in time. Articles may be read, shared, regardless of the validity of their information contained within the story. Information shared through these social media outlets may also be heavily opinion-based articles, but may be taken by fact as a reader. Without taking initiative to do extra research into the topic discussed in the article, a gap in knowledge may exist. And secondly, overall, students are expected to have an interest in non-biased student-run news platforms that would help them become well-informed while still having a quick and convenient access to reliable information. The second thing I'll present is our objective. The objective of this survey was to determine the interest among students in receiving relevant and unbiased news via student-run webpage. The survey distributed for this study was collected information regarding how students received their news during the last election cycle, what types of information students are most interested in, for example, healthcare, foreign policy, and what would be the most suitable platform to deliver this news to the student population, whether it be an email, newsletter, or a social media platform.
Hi, my name is Jazmin, and I'll be presenting the methods and results. In order to gauge the students' interest in a student-run news platform, a survey was developed to assess how current news is obtained. A 16-item observational descriptive study was emailed to 283 students that were currently enrolled in the University of South Florida College of Pharmacy via Qualtrics. The primary endpoints of our study included gauging how students currently receive their news and how students would prefer to receive their news using a student-run platform. Once the platform has been established, the success of the platform will be measured by feedback from the students based on views, likes, and/or comments to assess engagement by the students. Periodic surveys will be posted on the platform in order to receive immediate feedback and suggestions on how to improve the platform. The survey that was emailed to students consisted of 5 demographic questions and 11 study-specific questions. The survey was emailed to students over a 6-month time period, with a reminder sent to students 1 month prior to the expiration of the survey. At the time of expiration, the survey was closed and the data was analyzed. The inclusion criteria for the study consisted of students that were currently enrolled at the USF College of Pharmacy at the time the survey was distributed. The exclusion criteria consisted of USF College of Pharmacy students enrolled after July 2018, faculty, staff, administration, other USF graduate students, and USF undergraduate students. The results are as follows. In the survey that was distributed, questions were asked in order to assess the demographics of the students. Of the 283 students enrolled in the USF College of Pharmacy, 59 students participated in the study, but only 43 students completed the entire survey. The majority of the participating students were fourth-year pharmacy students with 47%, then third-year students with 25%, second-year students with 29%, and first-year students with 3%. The most common age range amongst the participants was 25 to 29, with 49%, and the majority of students reported that they were in the 3.0 to 3.4 range when asked about their current overall GPA. When asked about their main outlet for news consumption, 59% of students reported that they learn about breaking news initially through social media, 11% through news channels and news applications, and 9% from the radio. When considering reputable sources, the local news channels and the New York Times were the only options that received 10% of the vote. While social media was the highest ranking source for breaking news, none of the platforms were ranked amongst the most reputable sources, as can be seen in Figure 1, showing that less than 2% of student responses considered social media platforms reputable. When asked which news platform contained bias, all cable news networks and social media received the most votes. Figure 2 shows that whether they were receiving their news through news networks or through social media, the students believed that they all had some sort of bias. The majority of participants, 96.4%, reported that they performed further research on subjects in which they found that others had different opinions from their own. When asked if participants had interest in receiving updates on healthcare news, 87% responded positively, as can be seen in Figure 3. And the platform in which they would like to receive the news was through a Facebook page with 34.3% of the responses.
Hi, I'm April, and I'll be going through the discussion and the conclusion. The results from the survey correlate from the hypotheses that students receive most of their news through social media outlets, and students would be interested in a platform in which they could receive relevant, non-biased, healthcare-related news through an easy-to-access platform. The main outlet in which students reported receiving their breaking news was through social media, with more than twice as many students choosing this type of outlet compared to the traditional news sources such as the television or the radio. This survey found that only a small percentage of students obtain their news through printed media such as newspapers, magazines, or journals. This may be due to the fact that the news is obtained in a quicker manner through the internet or through applications that may be available through mobile devices. The survey also showed that most news sources, whether it be social media or the local news channels, are not considered reputable. Local news channels, along with the New York Times, were the two sources that had the highest amount of responses when asking which sources were considered reputable. However, both sources only received 10% of the responses. While students reported social media being their main source for news consumption, they also recognized that it was not reputable. As hypothesized, participants unanimously agreed that a Facebook page, mobile application, or weekly email would be the best platform for a student-run news platform for news relating to the healthcare industry. The limitations of this study include the low number of responses compared to the total number of students that were enrolled in the USF College of Pharmacy at the time of the study, with only about 17% of students participating. A greater amount of responses would help further solidify our hypothesis in our small group of students as well as in larger studies. Another limitation to this study is that the interest in a student-run news platform with a focus on healthcare-related topics may not be as strong in other university populations that are not involved in the healthcare industry. The next steps in this study will be to decide the most appropriate and efficient platform for an unbiased platform. The topics and news that will be shared on the platform will need to be identified and determined to be reputable. Guidelines will need to be established in order to help minimize the amount of bias and provide quality, useful, and helpful information. In conclusion, from the results that were found in the survey, a non-biased, student-run news platform would be beneficial to the USF College of Pharmacy student body. While students obtain a great deal of their breaking news through social media, they are able to recognize that these news sources contain bias and are willing to do further research on subjects that may have differing opinions. Most of the participants in this survey showed an interest in contributing content to a student-run news platform. As healthcare professionals, it is important to be well-informed and well-rounded as it relates to current events and discoveries, especially as it relates to the healthcare industry. By providing students with an easily accessible and reliable news platform, it would be beneficial to the student body and as both individuals and healthcare professionals.